Why is footwork so important in boxing? Obviously, boxing is an impact sport, and fights are often contested over a number of 3-minute rounds, and depending on the fighter and what stage of their career they are at, there can be between 4 and 12 rounds. And whether the fight is 4 or 12 rounds, it is vital to stay focused for the entirety of the fight. One wrong move can spell disaster. It is never the hardest punch that knocks the fighter out, it is always the punch that the fighter never sees coming, because he does not have time to prepare for it or set his body at all. It comes as a complete shock. If you remember when you were younger, if you're running across a football field and you get smacked in the head with a football unexpectedly, it usually knocks you over and scrambles your senses completely. If you imagine that, and then it continuing, because the fighter will not stop if he stuns a fighter, he will go to take him out, and that is what has happened when a fighter gets hit with a shot they do not see coming. This is where footwork comes into it. You see, a fighter can move in and out of range using their feet. Let me give you an example. Look at Oleksandr Usyk. He uses his feet extremely well, and it is without doubt his best attribute. Usyk uses his feet to move not forwards and backwards, but to move in and out of range effortlessly. He also throws a shot, moves, and throws another shot and then moves again. So in turn, his landing and his opponent can't adjust their guard to defend themselves quick enough because Usyk is always resetting his angles and always able to land. Now, footwork isn't just key to being offensive, but it is also key to being defensive also. If a fighter is clipped with a shot they do not see coming, and then again maybe by a follow-up, they can do one of 4 things. Fight back, which is never a good idea if the fighter has just been caught with an unexpected shot and their senses are scrambled. The other thing they can do is retreat, but this is futile. If the fighter goes back far enough, they will go back in straight lines and hit the ropes, and then they are easy targets for the fighter to tee up. The fighter can hold, which is quite a good idea if you are hurt badly. A fighter can hold and tie the other fighter up, which means their arms are not free to land shots. But this is only advisable if you cannot move away from the shots, if you have nothing left and you have nothing to do but hold. That is when it is a good idea. But if you still have your feet under you, then it is best to move away if you can. Which brings me on to the final option. The fighter can opt to step off to the side, and similarly as when the fighter is on the offense, each step takes the fighter out of range, and the fighter on the offense has to adjust in order to continue landing. And if they are constantly having to adjust as the fighter on the back foot continues to step to the side, this will give the fighter on the defense ample time to recover. Having the skill of using footwork to get yourself out of trouble, as well as getting yourself in a good position offensively, is not just about whether you have the mobility to do so, but it is also about the ability to stay cool and calm under pressure. Not to mention in the ring, while thousands of spectators watch on, because in the gym everything can be right. You can be the best fighter in the world, but it's whether you can do it in the ring that counts. Some fighters are gym fighters, and others can perform in front of crowds, so for a fighter to stay calm while buzzed or hurt is a feat in its own. Dependent upon the fighter's style, the option is always either to hold or use footwork to step away. In boxing, it can be a fighter's undoing if they allow their opponent to know if they are hurt, so using footwork to pivot and step away can be the best way. But that is of course if the fighter still has their feet under them. If they are hurt bad enough, then tying their opponent up is the best option. But of course a fighter like Oleksandr Usyk moves so well, he rarely, if at all, is out of position, and where he cannot use his feet to get him out of trouble. A fighter's footwork can also dictate how much power is behind the shot they throw, and also how much power they can take out of a shot when it is thrown offensively towards them. Firstly, if a shot is thrown with weight on the back foot, then there is going to be not a lot of power in the shot, but if the weight is distributed from the back foot onto the front foot as the shot is thrown, then power in the shot will be far greater. Secondly, while taking a shot, if the feet are a shoulder width apart, or perhaps a little more, and one foot in front of the other and the other behind, then the shot can be ridden by the fighter. As it lands, a fighter can pull their body weight back onto the back foot, taking a great deal of momentum out of the shot. Something that will see a fighter taken out with one single shot is if their feet come square. This means if the feet come together side by side. In this instance, the fighter will take the full force of the shot and have no way to absorb the shot. And if the shot does not knock the fighter out, or even knock them down, it will most certainly knock the fighter off balance and compromise their composure, making them vulnerable and exposed to a follow-up onslaught. That could spell disaster. But there we have it. That is why footwork is so important, and it is one of the greatest attributes to a fighter. Thank you guys for watching. Please give the video a like and also subscribe if you'd like to see more content. Thank you guys.